Welcome to FootyBiteDaily, your ultimate source for all things football. Buckle up as we dive straight into today's massive headlines. Barcelona ditching the Super League, Ronaldo calling off his Al Nassr boycott, Klopp eyeing a shock Real Madrid takeover, Liverpool shaking up their managerial setup, plus transfer buzz heating up across Europe. Kicking off with Barcelona, who have officially begun the process of withdrawing from the European Super League, leaving Real Madrid as the sole remaining founding member. Remember, out of the original 12 clubs that launched the ESL back in 2021, 9 bailed almost immediately amid massive fan backlash and threats from UEFA. Now it's down to just 1. In a wild twist from the sidelines, Nigeria national team coach Eric Chelle has revealed his ultimate dream of becoming Real Madrid's first ever African coach, a bold ambition that could break barriers in one of football's most elite club. On a darker note, Franck Ribéry has been named in the newly released Jeffrey Epstein files by the US Department of Justice. A victim alleges the former Bayern star tried to assault her, with police intervening, and claims that Ribéry is tied to prostitution circles, adding to the controversies that have followed his post-retirement life. And in a savvy business move, Barcelona are sponsoring the construction of 4 luxury towers in Dubai. The project will feature a Barca store and a mini museum to boost the club's global brand. Manchester United's board is seriously impressed with Michael Carrick's interim stint. If he keeps delivering solid results and qualifying for the Champions League, he could permanently become Man United's head coach. On the flip side, Luis Enrique is set to snub United's advances and ink a new deal with PSG. He has already held talks, but has major doubts about the Old Trafford project, especially if they miss out on Champions League football next season, and is preferring the stability in Paris, where he has won multiple trophies. Over at Liverpool, the Reds are urgently reviewing Arne Slot's position amid a rocky spell, with contingency plans ready for the rest of the season and due diligence already underway on potential replacements. Things could escalate fast if a February sacking happens. Adding to the uncertainty at Liverpool, they're open to letting Italian forward Federico Chiesa depart at season's end for around £24 million, with a return to Serie A looking most likely via Juventus, Napoli or Roma. Chiesa's injury-hit time at Anfield hasn't lived up to his Euro 2020 heroics. Tottenham Hotspur are dealing with a discipline nightmare this campaign, racking up 67 cards, the most in the Premier League, and 4 more than anyone else. It's costing them big, like when Christian Romero got sent off for the second time this season in a studs-up challenge on Casemiro against United, leaving them a man down early. Spurs get booked once every 4.1 fouls, the league's harshest ratio, while United escape with 1 for every 7.6 fouls. On the pitch, Tottenham are not planning to make Randal Kolo Muani's loan from PSG permanent. The 27-year-old French striker's frustration played a key role in his January exit push, and he's growing anxious about securing a spot in Didier Deschamps' France squad for upcoming internationals. Real Madrid's camp is buzzing with internal tensions. Dani Carvajal is unhappy about his lack of playing time, with doubts swirling over a contract renewal. Sources say the club has discussed reinforcing at right back, and even the player isn't convinced he'll stay. Meanwhile, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who joined from Liverpool last summer, has zero interest in a quick exit despite Manchester City links, and he is committed to fighting for his Bernabeu spot. At Barcelona, Hansi Flick might resign at the end of the 2025-26 season if Victor Font wins the presidency over Joan Laporta, signaling potential boardroom chaos at the Camp Nou. Chelsea's managerial moves are in focus. Boss Liam Rossignol personally requested Mamadou Sarr's recall from his Strasbourg loan and pushed for a reunion with Valentin Barco, whom he knows from France, though Barco flopped during his 2024/25 Brighton stint in England. On the pitch, Nicholas Jackson is heading back from his Bayern Munich loan this summer. The Bavarians are unimpressed and won't make it permanent, now eyeing a new backup for Harry Kane after Jackson's underwhelming output of just a handful of goals. Newcastle United's Eddie Howe's future is under intense scrutiny after 3 straight losses, including to Brentford. They're closer to the drop zone than the top 4, with tough clashes against Tottenham and Manchester City looming, piling pressure on the 48-year-old who's been their coach since 2021. Watford have appointed Edward Still, brother of ex-Southampton boss Will Still, as head coach on a 2.5-year deal, hoping his tactical fresh ideas revive their championship push. At Roma, veterans Paulo Dybala and Lorenzo Pellegrini have been told to accept pay cuts if they want to extend beyond this summer as their deals expire, a tough pill for the Argentine World Cup winner and the club captain amid Roma's financial tightening. At Brighton, they have accepted a January bid from Nottingham Forest for captain Lewis Dunk, but the loyal defender turned it down and is committing to the Seagulls. At Al Nassr, Cristiano Ronaldo is ending his boycott, and he will be returning against Al Fatih on February 14th, after missing 2 games over PIF frustrations. His demands, like overdue salaries and management independence, have been met, keeping the 41-year-old icon central to the Saudi project. At Inter Milan, they are poised to hand manager Christian Chivu a 1-year extension to 2028, plus a pay bump, rewarding his leadership as they lead Serie A by 5 points. Jack Grealish has confirmed via Instagram he'll miss the rest of the season after foot stress fracture surgery. Shifting gears to transfers, starting with Liverpool. They could re-sign 23-year-old England centre-back Jarell Quansah from Bayer Leverkusen as early as 2027. Thanks to a buyback clause in his deal, Quansah, a product of their academy, has shone in the Bundesliga. At Bournemouth, Alex Jimenez is sealing a £17 million permanent switch from AC Milan on a 5.5-year contract after his loan appearances triggered the obligation. They're also eyeing Sassuolo's Tarek Muharemovic to plug the gap left by Marcos Senesi's free exit, though they're underdogs against Inter and Juventus. At Barcelona, they reckon Manchester United's Lisandro Martinez would jump at a Camp Nou move this summer. The Argentine's injury-plagued United tenure, including foot and knee issues, might make the Red Devils hesitant on a long-term extension, especially with his deal in its final year. At Everton and Newcastle, both teams are eyeing a summer swoop for Chelsea striker Liam Delap, who's battling for his Stamford Bridge future after a quiet spell. Manchester United, who chased the 23-year-old last summer, might re-enter the race if he becomes available. At PSG, Eli Krupi Jr. is firmly on their radar, with Luis Campos scouting the 19-year-old Bournemouth striker since autumn. His Premier League goals have also caught Arsenal's eye and others, and his switch to super agent Moussa Sissoko, who also represents Dembele, signals big ambitions. At Arsenal, they made a late January play for Real Madrid's Brahim Diaz after Mikel Merino's injury, but got shut down as Madrid wouldn't budge mid-season. Now they're competing for Club Brugge's Alexander Stankovic, with talks open to the club and his agency. They're also in the mix for a free Leon Goretzka from Bayern this summer. The midfielder's January rebuff hasn't deterred them, They are also in the lead, chasing for Newcastle's Sandro Tonali, and if the Magpies miss Champions League, the Italian would love London life, as per Football Insider. At Chelsea, there is quiet progress on Julián Álvarez, with the Atletico and Argentina stars representatives in London for talks. Barcelona are linked too, but Chelsea are pushing hard. They're also reigniting interest in Porto's Samu Aguihawa, the 21-year-old striker they've tracked since 2024, who's bagged 47 goals in 76 games. At Real Madrid, Vitinha is their top summer midfield target to balance the squad. The Portuguese star loves the idea, viewing Madrid as football's pinnacle, despite being happy at PSG. At Manchester United, they're plotting a raid for Chelsea's Cole Palmer, who is Ineos's dream target. Despite denials, the 23-year-old is open to Old Trafford, but Chelsea want at least £150 million. At Manchester City, they are keen on Everton's 27-year-old Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall for £40 million. They eyed him before his Goodison move and rate his midfield engine highly. Mohamed Salah could triple his Liverpool's salary to £1.2 million per week as Ronaldo's summer replacement, becoming the Saudi Pro League's new face after 9 iconic years at Anfield. In other transfer tidbits, Matthias Svanberg's Galatasaray move is off, as he's staying at Wolfsburg despite talks. John Duran has joined Zenit St. Petersburg on loan from Al Nassr, ditching his Fenerbahce spell for Russia. Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester United are ramping up for FC Nordsjælland's Caleb Urenki, with scouts watching the Ghanaian midfielder. That's your full Footy Bite Daily Roundup. Stay tuned for more twists, and remember, football never sleeps.